All right, let's jump into lesson 2. In lesson 2, it's basically geometry continued. We're going to look at two different things. We're going to look at volume and surface area. Once again, we talked about in class having the formula pages, and I want you to add all of these formulas to your formula page. The first couple of formulas here is surface area. Total surface area equals area of the base times 2 plus perimeter of the base times the height. And this will be for like just a regular three-dimensional object. This will be for something like this, which is a 3D rectangle. This would just be like a right prism. And you'd find the surface area of this. You would get the area of the base. You would multiply that times 2. Then you get the perimeter of the base, and then you multiply that times the height. And that would give you the total surface area of this object. But if we're looking at a surface area of a cone is going to be obviously something like this. And the surface area of a cone is going to be area of the base plus perimeter of the base divided by 2 times the slant height. So it's not like the actual height, but it's the slant height of this thing. That's what you'll look for there with the surface area of a cone. Then with the 3 volumes you need to write down, just regular volume, once again, regular volume of some sort of rectangular prism like this. It would just be area of the base times the height. Then volume of a cone, which just already showed you the volume of the cone, is 1/3 area of the base times the height. And then the volume of a sphere. If you're going to get the volume of something like this, it's going to be 2/3 the area of the base times the height. You might be asking yourself, what does this thing sit on? Well, you're gonna actually cut the circle out of the middle. So that's what you're going to do. Your base actually is going to be the middle of this sphere. And so you'll find the area of the middle of this circle. Then you'll multiply that times the height, which the height of the sphere is going to be the diameter. So that's how you find those 3. So write those formulas on your formula page, and then we're going to jump into this thing. All right, when you look at lesson 2 on the first example on page 17, you're going to see a right prism like this, and they want us to find the total surface area of it, or surface area of this. And so we're going to use this top left-hand formula. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the area of the base. Now, anytime you get to a geometry problem, I encourage you to write down the formula first. So when they say find the surface area of this object, what I want to do is I'm going to write area of the base times 2 plus perimeter of the base times the height. So I'll write down that formula, and then everything I'm going to do from here is going to be just to fill in this formula. Okay, so the area of the base. Well, first thing you got to do is you got to ask yourself, what's the base? Well, the base of this object is 2 things. It's sitting on a square and a semicircle. And so in order to find the area of a square, it is going to be base times height. In order to find the area of a semicircle, it is going to be pi r squared divided by 2. So that is how you find the area of the base. Now the perimeter of the base is just going to be the distance of the around for the rectangle. It's going to be plus pi d, which is the circumference. So I'm just going to put add all sides on the rectangle part. And then for the semicircle, it's going to be pi d divided by 2. And then times the height of this object. All right, now all I got to do is fill in for these things. So volume equals, working on the area of the base here, base times height of the rectangle is 6 times 5. And then plus, we're going to add that to pi, we just put the pi symbol, r, the radius is 3, so 3 squared divided by 2 times 2 plus perimeter of the base. It's going to be 5, 6, and 5. So 5 plus 6 plus 5. Keep doing that. Plus pi d. Diameter is 6 divided by 2 times the height of this whole thing. And when you read in here, the height is 10 centimeters. So we have 10 centimeters. And then you're just doing the math to solve. So volume equals 30 plus 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3.14, it's like 28 something. So it's 14 point, I don't know, we'll call it 28 here. Instead of me having to do it in the calculator. Plus we have 16 plus 2 divided by 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 3.14 is 9.42, I think. We're close enough. You can use your calculator. I'm just doing it in my head. You can get a more exact answer. Use your calculator. So volume equals 30 plus that. You're going to get 44.28 times 2 plus 16 plus that is going to be 25.42. Once again, your answers may be more exact because you use a calculator. I'm just doing it in my head. Volume equals right here 88.56 plus this is going to be 254.2. Multiply that. Add this together. The volume is equal, and I'll put down the right answer so that you know it. Of course, you can look in your book and see it too. But it is 342.53 centimeters squared. Because it is area, though. Why did I write volume the whole time? Whoops. Sorry. Total surface area. I should not have been writing a V the whole time. Because it is the area, it is going to be squared. So we were finding the total surface area this entire time. Total surface area is 342.53 centimeters squared. All right, we're going to look at a similar shape, but this time it has a cone shape at the top. And they want us to find the volume of this cone. If you're finding the volume of this cone, we go to our formulas, find volume of a cone. All right, so this is just a regular, this was a cone, and this was a sphere, just to remember what is what. So volume of a cone, you always will start by writing down the formula, is 1/3 area of the base times the height. Now, what is the base of this cone? The base is this object that they give us, and then they will give us the height in this problem. Once again, I am looking at page 21, example 2.4. And they say the radius of the base is 8, and the slant height of the cone is 10. Nope, wrong problem. Nope, sorry, I was looking at the wrong problem. The height of this thing is 6 meters high. So our height is 6 meters high, and our volume is going to equal 1/3 area of the base. Okay, so find the area of the base. This is the base. What is the base? It's a square and a semicircle. Area of a semicircle is pi r squared divided by 2. Base times height is that. So volume equals 1/3. The base is 3 times 2, so we'll have 3 times 2 plus it's going to be 3.14 times 1 squared, which is going to be 1, divided by 2 because it's a semicircle, and the whole thing is going to be multiplied times 6. So volume equals 1/3. It's going to be 6 plus 3.14 divided by 2 is 1.57 times 6. Volume equals, let's add these real quick, 1/3 times 7.57 times 6. We can see the 3 and the 6 will reduce, so volume equals 2. 2 times that is going to be 15.14, and this was centimeters cubed. All right, 2 more concepts in this lesson. The next one is they want us to find the surface area of a cone. Once again, a cone is just like a road cone, and we're going to find the surface area of this. They told us the radius was 8, and they told us the slant height was 10. You always start by writing down your formula, and the formula for this cone, the surface area of a cone, is area of the base instead of times 2, because obviously there's not 2 sides to a cone. There's only one bottom there that it sits on. So there's one base plus the perimeter of the base divided by 2 times the slant height. Area of the base, well, what's the base of a cone? And this is a circular cone, it's not a pyramid or anything like that. The area of the base of a cone is going to be pi r squared because it's sitting on a circle, plus the perimeter of the base is pi d divided by 2, and then the slant height, they gave us was 10. So let's fill in the rest of our numbers here. The surface area of a cone is pi 3.14 times the radius is 8 squared plus pi d divided by 2. Well, if the radius is 8, the diameter is 16 divided by 2, it's still back down to 8. So it's 3.14 times 8 times 10. I am going to use my calculator to go ahead and solve for this. So 3, which make sure to bring your TI-84s to class. 8 squared is 64 times 3.14 equals 200.96 plus 8 times 3.14 equals 25.12. And you multiply that times 10. When you do, you just move the decimal place one time, so it's 251.2. And you're going to add that to 200.96. That's going to get our surface area of the cone here. So 251.2 plus 200.96 equals 452.16. It's the surface area of a cone, and the dimensions on this cone was centimeters, so it's going to be centimeters squared. All right, the last two problems in this lesson have to do with a sphere, and I actually added another formula to your formula page, and it's the surface area of a sphere, which is 4 pi r squared. It's really actually kind of fun because there's not much to it. But we're going to look at the sphere. So we're going to look at the volume of the sphere. So volume equals 2/3 area of the base times the height. And then we're going to look at the surface area of the sphere here in a second, which is surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Really easy, just kind of enter it in your calculator. All right, they want us to find the volume of the sphere whose radius is 9 meters. So volume equals 2/3 area of the base. Well, remember the base of the sphere is a circle. So I'm finding the area of the base is pi r squared times the height, which the height of this thing is going to be the diameter. All right, so we can just write the diameter there. So volume equals 2/3 pi 3.14. The radius is 9, so 9 squared. The height is going to be 18, which is the diameter. And so now all you do with this is put that in your calculator and multiply everything together. So it makes it really nice. So I'm going to start by multiplying 2 times 3.14 times 81 times 18 equals, then I'm going to divide that by 3, and I get 3,000. The volume equals 3,052.08 meters cubed. So that's how you find the volume of a sphere. Then they want us to find the surface area of a sphere. And if you'll go ahead and look in your book at page 23, example 2.8, because this is going to be one of those problems where you have to work backward, then forward, because you got to figure out the information. So what they do in this next problem is they give you the answer of the volume of a sphere, which is 288 pi centimeters cubed. So they say the volume of the sphere is 288 pi centimeters cubed, and then they want you to find the surface area. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is fill in your formula, because you got to find the radius. So pi r squared divided by 2, not pi r squared divided by 2, it's just pi r squared. So we got 288 pi, and we're going to do all of this. Now another thing, instead of the diameter, we could write 2 pi, because that's what the diameter is, and that would kind of help us in doing what we're doing here. So we could divide both sides. We'll flip the 2/3, so we get 3 halves, and then we will put on the bottom 2 pi, it's not 3 pi, well, you divide both sides by pi times 2 pi. That would be easiest like that. So So the pi's will cancel. And then you would just multiply this out, because we flipped all this is gone. 2 pi is canceled, pi is canceled, we flipped this. 3 halves, that's all gone. And so we're left with radius squared equals whatever this is in the calculator, and this is going to give us the radius. 288 times 3 equals, divided by 2 equals, divided by 2 equals, divided by 3.14 equals. All right, so we get the radius is 68.679. All right, I'm going to fix this last problem. We kind of messed up on this last problem where we're working backward here. And just for our video audience, we are in front of a live audience of some pretty amazing people in here. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, so we rarely will get to do this, but this is an awesome opportunity. All right, so what they gave us, we're in lesson 2, we're in the last example here, and they gave us 288 pi was the volume of a sphere, but they wanted the surface area of a sphere. So we're going to work backward from the volume. And I actually put up, I want you to change on your formula pages. I actually put up a better volume. It's the same numbers, but it's a little simpler to look at. The volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. And so that's going to be the volume of the sphere. It's the same thing as what we were using earlier. It's just easier to deal with for you, and that's what we always want to do in solving for this. So the first thing that we're going to do, if this is the volume, we're going to have to work backward to find the radius. So the volume is 288 pi. We're going to set that equal to the formula of the volume, which is 4/3 pi r cubed. And so we're going to isolate the variable, do just always like what we do in algebra. And we're going to solve for the radius. And the way to do that is we're going to flip the 4/3 and bring the pi to the bottom. So we're going to multiply both sides times 3/4 with pi on the bottom here. So flip, get the reciprocal. That will all cancel, and you're dividing by pi. So what we did was we isolated the r cubed on the right side, and then we have 3/4 288 pi. Now what you're going to do is you're going to multiply this all out. Whenever you multiply this all out, you're going to get 216. All right? Because I'll just do it in my calculator while you're probably working on your own. So 3 times 288 equals that, divided by 4, 216. Now, in order to get r by itself, you've got to get the cubed root. And you'll just find that in your calculator button. If you're getting used to your calculators, if you can't remember where that's at, don't know if you can see this. But if you hit the math button, yeah, actually you can see that. Look at that, it's pretty cool. All right, so you have the math button, and then you go down to number 4 on the math button, click enter, and then you're going to write 216 in there, and you're going to see that the cubed root is 6. It's really cool. I can put that up next to it. And so now that is the radius, so you're not done. So you have 6 is the radius. Now, remember what they were trying to find is the surface area. But you're going to love the surface area because it's just that, and you put it in your calculator. So it's 4 times 3.14 times, if the radius is 6, 6 squared is 36. And that is the answer, 452.16. So 452.16, and this is, I forgot what the dimensions are, something squared because it is area. Might be centimeters or something. All right, that's how you do that, working backwards. But those are all your formulas. This is a kind of a geometry part 2, and that was lesson 2. Thank you to our live audience that joined us. Thank you very much. I'll be here all year on YouTube.